So if you're planning to move to the UK through the health and care worker visa or skilled worker visa, stop scrolling. The UK government just dropped major changes on July 1st, and they take effect this month. These changes will affect salaries, qualifications, and even care workers trying to migrate. Don't get caught off guard. I'm breaking everything down in plain, simple terms you can actually understand. Let's dive in. 1. Salary threshold increased starting from 22nd July 2025. The UK government is officially increasing the minimum salary threshold for anyone applying under the skilled worker visa route. Previously, the minimum salary an employer had to offer a skilled worker from overseas was £38,700 per year. But under the new rules, that figure is rising to £41,700. And for applicants who hold a PhD, the threshold is also going up from £34,830 to £37,500 per year. So why the increase? Well, according to the UK Home Office, the changes are being made to reflect the current economic reality. They say the cost of living has gone up, so it's only fair that salary requirements for sponsored workers rise as well. On paper, that might sound reasonable. But in reality, this is a tough blow for both international applicants and UK employers. For companies, especially small to mid-sized businesses that rely on global talent, the higher threshold means increased financial burden. Hiring from overseas just became more expensive. And for foreign professionals hoping to migrate through this route, the competition just got stiffer. Employers now have a strong incentive to hire locally, since many UK-based candidates might accept lower salaries compared to what's required for visa sponsorship. So unless a company is truly desperate for a specific skill set that they can't find locally, they might be reluctant to sponsor someone from abroad. This move would lead to fewer job offers for international candidates, especially in industries that are cost-sensitive or where wages traditionally sit below the new threshold. It's also a strategic step by the UK government to prioritize domestic employment. They're subtly encouraging employers to look inward first and only consider international recruitment if absolutely necessary and if they're willing to pay the price. 2. Degree now mandatory, big barrier for non-graduates, the second major change to the UK skilled worker visa rules. And honestly, one of the biggest shakeups is that a bachelor's degree is now the minimum qualification required to apply. Let me say that again. From now on, if you don't have at least a degree, you cannot apply for a skilled worker visa to the UK. This aligns with what's called RQF Level 6. That's the regulated qualifications framework, used to measure the level and complexity of education in the UK. So how is this different from before? Well, previously, many occupations under the skilled worker route accepted lower qualifications, including diplomas, foundation degrees, or even certificates. In fact, roles like care workers, IT support staff, technicians, and even some healthcare assistants were eligible without needing a full university degree. But now, with this new rule, about 180 occupations have been removed from the eligible list because they no longer meet the new educational standard. That's a massive shift. So why is this change happening? The official reason, according to the UK government, is to ensure that only genuinely skilled roles, aligned with higher education and professional standards, are sponsored through the skilled worker route. They want to tighten the system and prevent misuse, particularly in sectors where people are using low-skilled roles to gain entry into the UK workforce. But this rule is going to hit a lot of aspiring migrants hard, especially in countries where diploma-level education is more common, or where people have years of hands-on experience but never completed a university degree. Let me give you a practical example. Before now, someone working as a care assistant with just a diploma could get a job offer and move to the UK under the health and care worker visa, which is a subcategory of the skilled worker route. Now, that same person must have a bachelor's degree to even qualify, regardless of how much experience they have. And remember, this isn't just about the care sector. It affects anyone in an occupation that previously sat below RQF Level 6, and there are a lot of them. So what does this mean for you? If you're planning to apply for a skilled worker visa and you don't have a degree, you're now ineligible unless your job shows up on the new temporary shortage occupation list, which we'll talk about later. In short, this new rule raises the bar significantly. The UK is making it clear that they want highly qualified, degree-holding professionals, and they're closing the door on most sub-degree level roles under this visa category. 3. Care worker visas are ending now. Let's talk about what many have feared and what's now official. From 22nd July 2025, the UK will completely stop overseas recruitment of carers and care workers under the health and care worker visa route. That's right, if you are outside the UK and your goal has been to migrate as a carer, this route is closing permanently for you. So why is the UK making this change? The government says the decision follows serious concerns over widespread abuse, exploitation, and non-compliance in the care sector. Over the past few years, many care companies were found to be violating sponsorship rules, underpaying workers, offering poor working conditions, and in some extreme cases, abandoning migrants without jobs after arrival. You may have seen the headlines or documentaries, especially from the BBC and other watchdog agencies. This pathway, which once offered hope to thousands of families around the world, slowly became a hotspot for unethical practices, and the UK Home Office has now decided to shut the door completely. So what does this mean if you're already in the UK on a care visa? Here's the good news. The change does not affect existing care workers in the country. The government has put in place transitional provisions to protect those already in the system and prevent further exploitation. If you're currently working as a carer in the UK, you can continue working in your role. You can switch employers, but only up until 22nd July 2028, you're still allowed to bring your dependents, spouse, children, etc. You can extend your visa and even take on supplementary work, up to 20 extra hours per week. However, there is one condition. Before switching to a new employer, you must have worked with your current sponsor for at least 3 months. That 3-month rule is to prevent people from jumping between employers without any accountability, and to ensure some stability in the care system. Now, what about new applicants who are still in school or preparing their care certification overseas? Unfortunately, this change means that from July 22nd, 2025, you will no longer be eligible to apply for a UK visa as a carer, no matter your qualifications, certificates, or years of experience. That door is closing for good. 4. New temporary shortage occupation list introduced. Now here's a bit of a twist in the middle of all these tough updates. While the UK is tightening the rules for skilled migration, including increasing salaries and requiring degrees, they've also announced a new temporary shortage occupation list. So what exactly is this? This new list is designed to fill urgent, high-demand roles in key industries where the UK is experiencing critical labor shortages. But here's the interesting part. You can still come to the UK without a degree if your job is on this list. That's huge, especially for professionals with diplomas or sub-degree level qualifications who might have just been locked out of the skilled worker route due to the new RQF Level 6 requirement. Think of this list as a short-term exception, a kind of emergency access route to keep certain industries running, particularly where there's a lack of qualified local workers. And it's a big but, there are strict conditions. Here's what you need to know. No dependents allowed. If you come to the UK under this temporary shortage route, you cannot bring your spouse, children, or any other family member with you. This alone will be a deal breaker for many. No discounts. There will be no salary threshold discounts and no reductions in visa fees. So even though you don't need a degree, you'll still be paying full costs to apply, and employers won't get any breaks either. Now, who exactly does this benefit? This pathway is expected to support critical roles in healthcare, infrastructure, and industrial sectors. For example, diploma nurses, healthcare assistants, or workers in specialized technician roles, especially those previously eligible under RQF levels 3 to 5, might find themselves back in the game if their role is listed. There's no official confirmation yet, but based on past demand, roles like nurses, paramedics, rail engineers, and some construction or energy-related technicians may make it to this list. But here's the catch. It's called temporary for a reason. The UK government has not specified how long this list will remain in effect. It could be 1 year, 3 years, or it could be removed after the next policy review. So if you're in one of these roles and still planning to migrate, this might be your only window of opportunity, and it may not stay open for long. Also, while this gives a second chance to some sub-degree professionals, it's clearly designed as a short-term solution, not a permanent alternative to the skilled worker route. And the fact that dependents are excluded shows the government is trying to manage net migration numbers tightly. 5. Discounts are being removed. Visa costs just got more expensive to round up the major changes. Let's talk about something that affects both employers and applicants financially. and that's the removal of all discounts on visa-related costs. Under the old system, certain occupations, especially those on the shortage occupation list, were eligible for reduced salary thresholds and discounted visa application fees. For example, a nurse or care worker on the shortage list could apply with a lower minimum salary requirement. Visa fees for these roles were significantly reduced, saving both the applicant and their sponsor hundreds of pounds. But with the new immigration rules taking effect from 22nd July 2025, the UK government is scrapping all of these benefits. That means no more reduced salary thresholds, no more discounted visa fees, and no more easier access incentives for shortage roles. What does this mean for you? If you're an international applicant, be prepared to pay full visa fees even if your role is considered critical or hard to fill. You'll also need to meet the full salary threshold with no exceptions, whether you're a nurse, a care worker, a lab technician, or any other role previously on the shortage list. If you're an employer, you'll have to budget more to sponsor foreign workers. And in many cases, you may now need to rethink whether international recruitment is financially viable, especially if there are locals willing to work at a lower cost. This change is a systemic shift. The UK is moving away from making it easy or cheap to recruit from overseas. They're prioritizing self-sufficiency, local employment, and higher migration standards. So here's the recap. Salary threshold now £41,700 bachelor's degree is now the minimum qualification. Care visas for overseas applicants end. July 22nd temporary shortage list introduced. No dependents. No discounts. Discounts on salary and visa fees removed if you're already in the UK on a skilled worker or care visa. You can still switch jobs, extend your visa, and bring dependents. But if you're outside the UK planning to apply, these new rules apply from July 22nd. Don't wait. If you're in healthcare, nursing, or IT and you haven't started your process, start now. Things are tightening fast. Drop your questions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on UK, Canada, and Europe immigration changes. See you in the next one.